There's something powerful about your absence, something louder than your presence ever was. And the truth is, he feels it. He notices it, but he will never say it out loud. Because when a woman truly walks away, when she chooses silence over reaction, distance over chasing, and dignity over begging, that silence becomes deafening. It becomes the echo in every room he walks into, every message he wants to send but doesn't, every moment he thinks of you and realizes you're no longer available. At first, he tells himself he's fine, that you'll come back like you always have, that this is just another phase. His ego plays defense, trying to convince him that your withdrawal is temporary. But as the days go by and you don't reach out, something shifts. He starts to feel the emptiness, not just in the room, but in his spirit. Because it's not just your voice that's gone, it's your presence, your energy, your nurturing, your peace. He underestimated that. He thought your love was permanent because you gave it freely. He thought your patience was infinite because you showed up even when he didn't deserve it. But now that you've pulled back, now that you've stopped explaining, stopped fixing, stopped being emotionally available, he's realizing something he never admitted to himself. You were his safe place, his anchor, his quiet strength. And now it's gone. But he won't say it. He won't admit it. Because that would mean accepting he pushed away the very person who held him together. That would mean humbling himself. That would mean confessing that he lost something valuable and it was his fault. And for a man whose identity is tied to control, that's a hard pill to swallow. So instead, he pretends, he posts, he parties, he surrounds himself with noise, hoping to drown out the silence you left behind. But none of it works, because when the lights go off and the noise dies down, that silence creeps in. And it's not peaceful anymore, it's haunting. You see, the more you pull back, the more he feels it, not just in his mind, but in his soul. He may not say it, he may not show it, but trust me, he feels it. And that's your power. It's not the loud goodbye that breaks a man, it's the quiet exit. It's not the screaming, not the pleading, not the drama. No. What truly cuts through his ego, what slices past his pride and sinks deep into the place he refuses to acknowledge, is when you simply stop trying. When you walk away, not with rage, but with silence. That silence, that graceful distance, speaks volumes. It tells him everything he didn't want to hear. It tells him that you no longer need his validation. You no longer crave his attention. You no longer seek his love. And for a man who fed on your emotional presence, that is unbearable. You see, when you argue, when you cry, when you fight, you're still emotionally involved. You're still attached. But when you pull back without explanation, that's when he knows it's real. And that's when it finally hits him. She's done. Not pretending, not punishing, done. There's no more fight left in you because peace became more important than proving a point. And that kind of withdrawal, that kind of emotional disappearance shatters a man's illusion of control. His ego expected you to come back. It always does. It expected your heart to overrule your mind like it used to. But now you've switched. Now your silence is protecting your energy. Now your stillness is louder than your voice ever was. And it's in that stillness that his regret festers. Not the kind of regret he can say out loud. That would cost too much pride. That would require humility. So instead, he wears the mask, pretends he's fine, pretends he's unbothered. But the truth is, your absence is doing the talking now. He scrolls through your page hoping for a sign, a caption, a song lyric, anything that proves you're still emotionally attached. But there's nothing, just your peace. And that peace eats away at him because he knows it's not fake, it's not for show, it's real. And nothing is more painful than watching a woman you thought you'd always have heal without you. That's the moment the game changes. That's when he starts to spiral. But he won't reach out. His ego won't allow it. It whispers in his ear that admitting loss is weakness, that apologizing is surrender. But deep down, he knows he messed up. He knows he played himself. He knows he let go of a woman who would have given him everything, simply because he thought you'd never leave. But you did. Quietly, powerfully, completely. And now, your distance has become the mirror he can't avoid. It reflects every flaw he tried to hide, every mistake he refused to own. And though he may never say it, though he may never send that message or make that call, he feels it every single day. And that's the moment he realizes he lost a woman he may never find again. It's a strange thing how silence can echo louder than words. When a man loses you, but his ego keeps him from admitting it, he becomes addicted to watching you from the shadows. He won't say anything, he won't reach out, but he watches. Quietly, constantly, carefully. Because when he sees you smile without him, when he sees your glow return, your peace rise, your confidence multiply, it shakes something in him. He may not speak it, but he feels it. He's not part of the world he once took for granted. You see, some men don't understand value until it's out of reach. They only start observing when they no longer have access. You become a mystery again, and men are drawn to mystery. They hate the idea that they no longer know your thoughts, your schedule, or your emotional weather. It disturbs them to realize that someone else might be seeing the version of you they took for granted. So what does he do? He checks your stories. He notices who you're following. He listens for your name in conversations. And if you've pulled back completely, with grace, not spite, that absence haunts him. Because you didn't just walk away, you elevated. You didn't move on with bitterness. You moved on in power. That quiet growth, that emotional evolution, it confuses his ego. His mind keeps telling him he'll find better, but his soul keeps whispering, she was the one. And now he starts comparing. Every conversation he has with someone new is filtered through the memory of your voice. Every smile he sees is compared to the way your eyes lit up when you were truly happy. And suddenly, what he thought was replaceable isn't. Because no one else brings the same peace, the same depth, the same presence. And the worst part, he'll never admit it. His pride will build walls he can't even climb. But still, he watches. He watches not just because he misses you. He watches because he's confused. How could you detach so cleanly? How could you choose yourself so fully? He underestimated your strength. He thought your love was weakness. He thought your loyalty meant you'd always stay. But your healing, your silence, your refusal to beg, that became your power. That became your loudest message. I am no longer available for disrespect. And now he's stuck in the place between pride and pain. He won't say it, but he's haunted by the thought that he ruined something sacred. He won't show it, but he's afraid another man will now cherish what he neglected. So he watches, not to celebrate you, but to feel close to what he destroyed. And that's what his ego can never fix. Some regrets echo forever. It's not the leaving that breaks them. It's the fact that you left and didn't look back. That you chose silence instead of an argument. That you walked away with your dignity, not with drama. See, that's what pierces a man's ego deeper than anything. Your peace. He expected you to beg, to fight, to cry. He expected you to question yourself, to unravel without him, to fall apart in a way that made you run back. But you didn't. You rose. And that's what confuses him. Because men who operate from ego don't understand that a woman can love deeply and still let go completely. That you can feel pain, but not perform it for an audience. That your power was never in how much you tolerated, but in how quietly you walked away once you were done. What haunts him isn't just your absence, it's your evolution. You're not just gone, you're glowing. You're becoming everything he said you couldn't be, everything he overlooked, everything he thought he'd break in you is blooming without him. And that's what leaves him speechless, because ego tells a man that he is the source of a woman's strength, her beauty, her joy. And when she walks away and becomes more, not less, that ego starts to crumble. He doesn't know how to process a woman who doesn't chase. He doesn't understand what it means for a woman to choose silence over revenge. He can't make sense of your grace, because he expected war, and you gave him peace. He expected tears, and you gave him boundaries. He expected weakness, and you showed him how strength moves, softly but firmly, with clarity and finality. And that's the moment everything changes. When a man realizes you are no longer emotionally available to him, when he sees that your attention has been reclaimed, that your energy is now protected, that your heart is no longer open to his inconsistencies, he feels it, not just mentally, but spiritually. He begins to feel the void, not just of you, but of your presence. And that's something no rebound, no distraction, no night out can fill. Because there is a silence that speaks louder than any confrontation. And that silence is yours. You didn't slam the door. You didn't burn the bridge. You simply stopped showing up. And that is a language his ego never expected to hear, because he never thought you'd choose yourself. And now he lives in the echo of your absence. What most people don't understand about men who operate from ego is this: they don't regret you in the moment you leave. No, in that moment, they convince themselves they're in control, that they made the choice, that they're better off, that there's always another option, another woman, another thrill. See, the ego doesn't allow space for reflection. The ego needs to feel superior, so it distracts him, deceives him, and numbs him, at least for a while. But time has a way of clearing illusions. As the silence grows louder, the distractions fade, the dopamine wears off. The attention he thought he craved becomes noise. The women he thought would replace you start to feel shallow. The conversations feel empty. The connection feels forced. And slowly, he begins to feel the one thing his ego tried to run from: the loss of a woman who truly saw him, who truly loved him, not for what he had, but for who he was. That's when regret begins to settle in, quietly, like a whisper in the back of his mind that won't go away. It comes in waves. When he hears your favorite song, when he passes the place you two used to laugh, when he sees your smile in a memory he can't delete. He won't show it, of course. He'll pose as if he's fine. He'll walk like nothing happened. He'll act like he's thriving. But inside, there's a storm building. Because regret doesn't need validation. It grows in silence. And it grows stronger when he sees you rising, gracefully, powerfully, unapologetically. When he sees that the woman he thought would crumble without him is now shining in ways he never imagined. Not bitter, not angry, just better. That's the kind of healing that shakes a man's soul, because it reminds him that you were never the problem, that he didn't lose you because you were too much, but because he was too little. And his ego won't admit that. Instead, it builds a wall made of pride, excuses, distractions. But behind that wall, he watches, he listens, he remembers, and the truth eats at him. He let go of something real, not because you failed him, but because he couldn't handle a woman who knew her worth, A woman who loved with her whole heart, but refused to settle for half effort. A woman who gave chances, but not forever. A woman who pulled back, not to punish, but to protect her peace. That kind of woman is unforgettable. And the ego can't erase her. It can only pretend she doesn't exist. But pretending is not healing, it's hiding. And the more he hides, the more the regret grows. So when he scrolls past your life now, your peace, your glow, your power, don't be surprised if he feels it all. The loss, the weight, the ache of knowing he had something extraordinary and let it slip through his fingers. And he will never admit it, not out loud, but trust me, he knows. And that's all the closure you'll ever need. Ego thrives in silence. It feeds on distance. When a man loses a woman, especially one who truly understood him, his ego starts to wrestle with the truth and the process begins. At first, he may convince himself that the separation was the right decision. After all, it's easy to keep up the facade that he is the one who walked away, that he had to let go for his own growth or happiness. But the truth is that ego doesn't let him truly process the loss, doesn't allow him to feel it in full, keeps him focused on justifying his actions, burying the truth under layers of pride and defense. The thing about pride is it's a fragile thing. It's like a house of cards. The more you pile it up, the more it's bound to fall apart. And that's what begins to happen once the initial shock of separation wears off. His ego has convinced him that he's fine, but with time, reality comes crashing in. He starts feeling it, the gap, the void, the lack of something genuine in his life. It's like an itch that he can't scratch, a hollow feeling that he's tried to fill with anything and everything else, but it never works. The woman he let go is constantly in his mind, whether he admits it or not. It could be a fleeting thought while he's at work, a memory that surfaces when he's alone, or a feeling that creeps in when he hears a song that used to mean something to the two of them. He might look at other women, but they're not you. They're not the one who loved him in ways no one else ever did. No one else could. That realization stings. It hits deep. Because the truth is, he didn't value you as he should have when he had you. And that's the part that's hard to face. The ego doesn't want to confront the fact that it was his own inability to appreciate your worth that led to this moment. He wants to believe it's not his fault. He wants to justify his actions. But when the world goes quiet and the distractions fade, the truth starts to take root. He feels it, he regrets it, and he can't undo it. He won't admit it to you, but he might start acting differently. He might reach out, not in the hopes of winning you back, but because something inside him is stirring. He may try to get your attention casually just to see if you'll respond. He may test the waters, but deep down, he knows he's not going to get the same response he did before. And that realization, that shift in the dynamic, cuts deep. It's a sign that you're no longer waiting, no longer chasing, no longer trying to keep something alive that he wasn't willing to nurture. And this is where ego really starts to crumble, because it doesn't just hurt when someone you love walks away. It hurts when you realize that the person who walked away was strong enough to do so, to let go, to move forward. The ego doesn't know how to handle the strength of someone who chooses their own peace over anything or anyone else. It doesn't know how to handle the fact that you've learned to live without them, to flourish without them, to mask it with pride, mask it with silence, mask it with other distractions. But he will feel it. He will feel the weight of the loss. He will see you evolve, grow, move on. And for the first time, the pain he caused will come full circle. He'll see the freedom in you. And that's what hits the hardest. The fact that you didn't need him to complete you. The ego won't admit it, but the truth is undeniable. He regrets losing you, and that regret will stay with him. It might not be something he expresses, it might not even be something he ever says out loud, but it's there, deep inside. And in a strange way, knowing that is all the closure you need. You don't need him to say it. You don't need him to validate it. The fact that he feels it, that's enough. So as you continue on with your life, stronger, more confident, more aware of your own value, know that your strength is what will always make him regret his choices. You are the one who walked away, but it's him who will feel the consequences the most. When you choose to walk away, it's not just about creating distance physically, it's about the emotional space you take back. This is a space that was once occupied by love, trust, and vulnerability, but over time, it became a place where you were diminished. Walking away is often seen as a power move, but it's more than that. It's a quiet declaration of self-respect. It's not about making the other person feel bad or trying to prove a point. It's about reclaiming your worth and walking into your own strength. What he doesn't realize is that the moment you pull away, the gravity of your absence starts to pull on him. He may not show it at first. He might act as though nothing's changed, but deep down, something inside him shifts. That's because the energy you gave him, the love and attention you provided, was something that nourished him, even if he didn't fully appreciate it at the time. Now, without it, he's left with a void. He begins to notice that he's constantly searching for that feeling you gave him, whether it's the comfort in your voice, the way you understood him without words, or the support you provided in moments of weakness. And no one else can give that to him. What you gave was unique, it was real, and now it's gone. He might reach out, thinking he can patch things up, thinking that if he just communicates with you enough, he can reverse the process. But it's never that easy. When you've made the decision to pull back and prioritize yourself, it's a shift that requires time and distance to truly feel. It's not a move made on impulse or in anger. It's a decision rooted in your own healing and self-preservation. And the longer you maintain that distance, the more it hits him. This is real. This is the consequence of his actions. There's no coming back from the emotional space you've created unless he acknowledges his role in the separation. He will begin to regret not valuing you when you were present, and that regret will continue to weigh on him because he knows deep down that you've learned to live without him, and that realization is what truly stings. The more you pull back, the more he will feel it. Not just in moments when he's alone, but in every aspect of his life. The absence of the person who gave him so much love, so much care, will start to echo in his mind. It won't be something he can avoid. It will sit with him, even if he tries to push it away. Ultimately, your distance is not about manipulation or playing games. It's about you stepping into your own power, understanding your worth, and moving forward with your life. It's about recognizing that your value is not tied to his acknowledgement or approval. The more you pull away, the more he will feel the impact of that, and will be a constant reminder of what he lost. When you decide to walk away, it's not about seeking revenge or making someone feel bad. It's about reclaiming your peace. The truth is, sometimes people don't realize your value until they no longer have access to it. And that's not your problem. Walking away is a form of self-preservation, a statement that you value your peace, your happiness, and your emotional well-being more than any temporary connection or validation from someone who didn't truly appreciate you. It's important to understand that pulling back isn't about leaving in anger or bitterness. It's about recognizing that you deserve to be treated with respect, love, and care. When you walk away, you're choosing to honor your own needs, rather than continuing to pour into someone who doesn't reciprocate that same level of energy. In this space, you learn to heal, to rediscover yourself, and to build the strength necessary to move forward. The more you walk away from what no longer serves you, the more you reclaim your own sense of control. In doing so, you create space for new opportunities, for people who will truly appreciate you for who you are, and for a future where you are no longer bound by someone's inability to recognize your worth. This is not about waiting for someone to come back. It's about knowing that you are worthy of so much more than what you were getting. You are walking away to give yourself the love and respect that you deserve. When you choose to walk away, it sends a message, not just to the other person, but to yourself. It's a declaration of your own worth, a reminder that you don't have to settle for anything less than what you deserve. You might think that walking away means you've lost, but in reality, it's a victory of self-respect. It's the point at which you realize that staying in a situation that doesn't serve you is far worse than moving on. And it's not about leaving with anger or resentment, but with a sense of relief. Relief from the emotional weight that was never yours to carry. You see, when you walk away, you stop waiting for validation from someone else. You stop waiting for them to admit that they were wrong or to recognize your value. You no longer need them to complete you because you've learned to be whole on your own. Walking away doesn't make you weak, it makes you strong. It shows that you have enough self-love and self-worth to let go of what doesn't bring you peace. In fact, it's one of the most powerful decisions you can make. When you let go, you free yourself from the grip of someone else's ego, and in doing so, you create the space for your own growth and healing. Walking away also gives you the opportunity to take a step back and reflect on the lessons learned. It's a chance to reassess your values, your boundaries, and what you truly want from the relationships you choose to invest in. And in this space, you find your strength, you find your voice, you find your power. That's the real power of walking away. It's the power of reclaiming your life, your worth, and your peace. When you realize that someone has hurt you, or when you feel that a relationship has been one-sided, it's easy to stay trapped in the cycle of waiting for them to acknowledge their mistakes. You might find yourself constantly questioning, why didn't they fight for me? Why didn't they realize my worth? But here's the thing. Sometimes they never will. They might regret their actions, but their ego will never allow them to admit it. Their pride and fear of vulnerability stand in the way of acknowledging the truth that they lost someone valuable. But you, on the other hand, have to understand that this is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their inability to face themselves, their pride, and their fears. Their ego will keep them from doing what's necessary for healing and reconciliation. But that doesn't mean your value diminishes. It simply means that you can't keep investing in someone who isn't capable of seeing the truth about you, and more importantly, about themselves. It's a hard pill to swallow, but it's a truth that must be faced. Sometimes people are too proud to admit their mistakes, and that pride can be the very thing that keeps them from getting back into your life. In many cases, their ego works in a way that convinces them that it was you who did something wrong, or that you should come crawling back. This manipulation may come in many forms: subtle comments, half-hearted apologies, or even silence. The goal is often to make you doubt your own feelings and your decision to walk away. But you must recognize this for what it is: a reflection of their unwillingness to face their own weaknesses. It's about them trying to protect their pride, not about you or the relationship. You might find yourself at a crossroads, wondering if it's worth it to even continue. You might be tempted to go back, to ease the discomfort, to believe the words that come from them, those half-hearted apologies that may never be followed by change. But here's the key: their ego won't let them acknowledge how deeply they regret losing you And that's a wall you can't break down by simply showing up again. They need to face their own shortcomings, their own mistakes, and do the real work of self-reflection. But that has nothing to do with you. This is where your self-respect must take precedence. The more you stay connected to their ego, the more you risk losing your own sense of self-worth. You have to understand that their inability to admit regret or to own up to their actions is not your burden to carry. It doesn't make you weak or petty to move on. In fact, it makes you wise. You're choosing your peace, your happiness, and your future over someone else's pride. When someone regrets losing you, but their ego holds them back from showing it, you cannot let that become your burden. It's their issue to deal with, not yours. By moving forward, by embracing your own journey, you not only protect your heart, but you also create space for the right people to step into your life. People who know your worth, who can love and appreciate you for all you are without the need for ego to dictate the terms of the relationship. In the end, the true measure of your worth isn't in how others view you or whether they ever admit their mistakes. The true measure of your worth lies in your ability to walk away, to stand firm in your self-love, and to recognize that your value is not contingent upon anyone's ego. You are enough, with or without their acknowledgement. And sometimes walking away and letting go is the strongest thing you can do. You free yourself from the chains of their pride and allow yourself to find the peace and the love you truly deserve. So don't waste time trying to get someone to admit what you already know. Instead, focus on healing, on growing, and on becoming the person who knows their own worth regardless of the ego-driven actions of others. Because you are worthy of love that sees you, values you, and cherishes you without hesitation. And that is the kind of love that you should wait for.